Hey, this is Sandy.
And Randy.
And we're here on AT Corner.
Being an athlete trainer comes with ups and downs, and we're here to showcase it all.
Join us as we share our world in sports medicine.
Welcome back to another episode of AT Corner. Happy New Year! It is 2022.
22.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 2022.
This is our first episode of the new year.
Yes, and also, I'm pretty sure that's our second Taylor Swift reference.
What was our...
Feeling 22. I can't remember what it was for, but...
Oh, really? Oh,
yes, we have done that
You mean we've
before.
sung to the people before?
Yes, we've definitely sung to the people before. What is our story episode to open the new year?
Today we are talking about ATRs.
Oh, yes, our home away from home.
Do you call it an ATR?
I try to call it like AT Clinic. I know that can create maybe some controversy, but it's kind of a big deal, at least in the state of California.
I think we call ours the clinic. I feel like we don't really call it. Oh, I know that one thing that we don't call it is the training room.
Oh, absolutely not.
And I know some people, like I've heard people say that, but that's something that we don't call that.
Nope.
But I think the closest we'll get is ATR. Sometimes I'll say the athletic training room.
Yeah, I was going to say, talking to like probably fellow ATs, yeah, those are like ATR or something like that.
Yeah, short and simple.
Exactly.
And I've worked in a couple different ATRs. You've worked in a couple different ATRs.
Yes.
And we have some really cool ATRs that other people have shared too.
Also, not just a few ATRs, but a few unique ones. Or at least I'm in a unique ATR currently.
You are currently in a very unique ATR.
It's very different. Let's just say that.
What was your favorite ATR to work in?
Oh, I'm definitely biased on that one, but I have to say where I did my GA ship.
What's so special about it?
It's home, man. I don't know. Whatever we did in that, because like it wasn't. The interesting thing is, it was more of a long room than a wide room.
Like really long.
It's very weird. Like I don't know how to explain it, but we got a lot done in such a small amount of space. It was really cool, and plus it's home, so.
Yeah, especially for a D1, I feel like it was size wise.
It's definitely on the smaller end.
Yeah.
100%.
But
we made it happen.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about the one you're talking about is you guys had all the treatment tables on the right side. And then on the left side, you had all of the cabinets.
Yeah, all the cabinets, and the sink were on the other side from the treatment tables. And then we had...
you actually had a really nice rehab space.
We did. It actually wasn't that bad.
And then the wet room.
And then we had a nice wet room.
A really nice wet room.
I really liked it.
My ATR now, I cannot handle the rehab space.
Yes, you're a little tight. You're definitely a little tight on how much room you have to do rehab.
I mean, I won't say it's a small ATR. I think for a college it's small. But, I mean, we have space.
Yes.
We don't have a lot of rehab space,
No.
and it is so cluttered. So if anyone can tell me how to declutter a rehab space, I would be very appreciative.
We're all ears.
Because every time I look at it, like we have this bookshelf that has shelves of rehab equipment, and there's I stare at it all day and there's nothing I can do. I've reorganized it. I've changed things. I've put stuff together. I've grouped stuff together, and it still looks cluttered.
So I'm assuming it's very anxiety producing.
I think the bookshelf just needs a door. So it just hides.
So you don't have to see it. That is the best part about cabinets.
Okay, you want to get to our first story?
Let's do it.
You want to read it?
Sure. Especially because when I heard about this one, I got really excited because I'm very intrigued on how this works.
Okay.
So this one's by Mariah S. In drum corps, our ATR traveled with us to a different state every other day and was set up either outside for a rehearsal day or in a school hallway. Interesting. We worked on keeping 200 members safe and did rehab every day with about 30. It forced us to stay creative and rely on manual therapy a lot. Our most used modalities were cupping and instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization. However, by the end of the 3-month tour, we had dropped all of our gua sha tools, so we were doing instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization with the ends of spoons from the food truck.
And that's creative.
That is creative. Hey, I've had to do that on the road, so I get it. There's a highlight on my profile for pictures.
Which we're going to post in our Facebook group.
Yes. So that's pretty cool. I mean, you had to do, like, yeah, you don't have all the, like, bells and whistles, but to have a traveling ATR, that's quite interesting.
Could you imagine? I've already seen the picture. It's really cool. I think their setup is really cool. I don't know. Like, I think it would be really cool to have that creativity where you can change the space. Also, I love when COVID did everything and we had to kind of move some treatment tables outside. Like, that was super exciting to me because I have always wanted to work outside, which is also why being an athletic trainer is really exciting because I love being outside. But could you imagine having to tear down your ATR every single day?
I know, that's pretty crazy. That would I think that would get old pretty quick. I do have to say, I have had a traveling athletic training room before when I worked track. Because we had to bring, like, we tended to bring as much stuff as we kind of could to make sure we had enough supplies for stuff. So it did kind of feel like a traveling athletic training room.
I mean, you also did set up in, like, hotel rooms and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a good point. I kind of had a traveling ATR in my first high school job.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
You guys complain about your ATRs. You can complain about them all you want. We did not actually have an ATR. You had a
multi-purpose room, right?
No, I had a table and I had my kit.
Oh,
and
there we go.
Because the little private school that I worked at didn't have a space. So sometimes there's one time that I ended up in the principal's office because it was raining and I couldn't get, because there were like rivers and stuff and I couldn't get to anywhere. And then most of the time I ended up in one of the portables that had a bunch of like Christmas decorations in the corner.
Nice.
But really I needed rehab space, I needed my table, and I needed my kit.
Yeah, oh, definitely. That's pretty fun. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But I didn't have to pack up that much stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, to have to do it for 200 members and constantly tearing down, putting back up, like, that's insane.
No, I just had football.
Yep, that's true.
You know, she was talking about how they don't have any gua sha tools anymore and they had to use spoons. That's kind of like what I'm doing now because we are going to order some, but we haven't yet. So right now we've been using like the metal scissors, like the end of scissors.
Oh, nice.
Not the sharp part.
No, you don't want to live on the edge. Get it? On the edge.
No. No blood, please.
Yes, no. That would be bad.
Actually, speaking of first ATRs, we got a gem from Jen about her first ATR.
Now that's a way to open up 2022.
What do you mean?
A gem from Jen.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Go for it.
So my first ATR was half a closet that had a steam radiator in the ceiling and no AC. Ooh, that sounds rough. After my first semester there, I asked if they could knock down a wall and I could have half the visitors' locker room on the men's side. I got AC and room for a total of 4 tables out of it. This worked out pretty well for the next several years.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, nice.
It's actually nice that they listened to her.
I was going to say, that's pretty cool that they were able to actually knock down the wall for you.
I know. I wonder what would happen if I asked for that.
Yes, I've asked a lot for our new athletic training room, and we have been met with nothing. So, hey.
You're working on it.
We're getting there. Fast forward to our building campaign and our new field house construction. Promises of an ATR in the new space quickly vanished, leaving me pretty pissed.
Yeah.
However, they ended up completely renovating a space that had been laundry and uniform storage for me. I ended up with 3 windows and only marginal issues. The more minor of these issues was the fact that nobody asked me what kind of flooring I wanted, and they picked out this black speckled rubberized flooring that is incredibly hard to clean and shows every single speck of dirt that exists on the planet, which is the worst in an athletic training room, especially when you consider you're probably spraying tough skin to tape.
Yeah.
That's getting on the floor, now even sticking more dirt in that one spot. The other larger problem that took a while to be fixed was that when I was told I could use my wet area, I was so excited. I walked into the athletic training room and looked at my tile floor and the tile walls, which looked like a drunken toddler on pixie sticks had done the work. Dang. Okay, They got sucky tile workers to do the work, but I still had a wet room. I turned on the water to watch it drain into the center of the room like it was supposed to, and watch drain to the far corner of the room, run down the floor and out towards the main part of the athletic training room. This is when I turned off the water, stamped out of the room, and went to the foreman for the construction work. Funny thing about the foreman, he's the brother of our crosstown rival school athletic trainer. He sees it, immediately calls the architect in charge of the job. The architect sees it, and I've never seen someone's face turn quite that color before. In short, we had to wait until Christmas break for them to rip up the entire tile floor and part of the walls, take out both ice machines and the whirlpools to fix this disaster.
Okay, I'm going to stop you real quick because this reminds me. I just started a new job in October, and we are learning lots of new things about our ATR. And
interesting.
I flooded the ATR about a couple weeks ago.
How?
So our sink apparently has a leak in the wet room, which would be fine, except that the floor is slanted and it's slanted away from the drain.
That sounds like that's not supposed to happen.
So basically, don't pour 10 gallons into the sink, otherwise it's going to leak and go toward my desk.
Which
out
has
of the wet room,
electronics,
past the rehab area, and towards my desk. I have never built a towel wall so quickly.
So there is actually one time when I was a student, I got there before anybody, and I was waiting to get into the athletic training room, and water was coming out of the athletic training room. It seemed weird, so I finally got into the athletic training room. The floor, I'm not kidding, was flooded. I can't remember why it was flooded, but the first thing I thought of was, we need to protect the modalities, get the wires up.
That's a good thing to protect.
It's almost like you were sloshing through water when the door opened. It was pretty bad.
You know what's another thing about my ATR that I have tried to fix, my co-head has tried to fix, our maintenance guy has tried to fix. It's a stupid easy fix, but like, you know those puzzle pads, like the foam ones?
Yes.
For some reason, the corner of one of ours is lifted.
Okay.
And so I trip on it all day.
That's not good. That's a work hazard.
Even though I know it's there.
That's a work hazard.
And usually the athletes don't really go over there because it's right next to our desk. So they usually stay on the opposite side. But still, like when they do, they trip over it too. And we've had people like try to flip you can't flip the puzzle thing on like upside down because it has a different like side on the back.
Oh, yeah.
And the puzzle things are like only one way. Like we've tried turning it like 90 degrees.
Okay.
At like 180 degrees. Like we've tried turning it. It only fits in one orientation.
That's so weird. Okay.
Yeah. And so we've tried like taping it down. Like
nothing's working.
No. Putting a kettlebell on it. It's really annoying.
So Jen continues with, however, I do love my ATR, my office window to the outside, and my 2 ice machines. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a hallway that runs from my office to the back entrance to the field house. I managed to talk to the architect into changing the steps in the hallway originally planned to a ramp so I could do functional things like get water carts down there and injured athletes up without having them go upstairs.
Which is genius.
Yes, that's awesome. Which I do, first of all, I do think it's very interesting that, the foreman was the brother of the rival school's athletic trainer. That's very small world.
I know, seriously.
And could potentially add foul play into the design.
Well, considering he fixed it real quick.
That's true. That is true.
I wish I had windows.
Yeah, windows are nice.
Even like, I mean, my ATR is not tall enough to do the top windows, but you know how when you have those top windows that like, you can't really see through, but at least it like lets in sun.
Yeah, I feel that.
That'd be nice.
I have been at a place with windows before. It was kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. You can know when the time of day has changed instead of being locked in the dungeon.
Right. Also, Jen, way to go again, talking the architect into changing things.
Exactly.
That is so cool.
Oh,
I feel like that's usually a losing battle.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't really understand.
I think they felt bad because they already messed up the room once. So they're like, oh, we better do this for...
I don't know if that's the same. She was talking about that was her first ATR, the first one.
But the redesign, I think.
I don't know if this is the same one. She's talking about her ATR now.
Interesting.
Anyway, Jen, you'll have to let us know.
Yes.
Man, it would really be nice to have a ramp.
Oh, big time.
Because we have this big old curb.
Yes, you guys do.
And we have this, actually, when we take the cart out, we have to go down this really long hallway, and then we have to go, like, 4x4 it, go over these rocks, and hope that no one's parked in the parking spot next to the rocks, because it gets real tight when someone's there. I will never park there, because the carts all go there. And so we have to go between, like, a handicap parking, like, placard thing, like a sign.
Yeah.
And a car. And then that's like the lowest area that we can get the cart through.
Oh, man.
I know. Otherwise, you have to go all the way around the whole sports center and gym.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's not happening.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a shortcut. It's just...
It's a sketchy shortcut.
I mean, someone taught that to me. It wasn't like I developed that. So here's one from Kate B. She said, we have a pro football team that used to use our ATR, so they did leave lots of nice things behind when they were there. Like a dishwasher.
You know, that most people don't think about like that being a necessity in athletic training room. It is pretty convenient to wash bottles.
I've never had a dishwasher, but I think it would be so much better to have a dishwasher than sometimes the way I've seen people clean bottles and I'm sketched out.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I think a dishwasher would do a much better job than some of the ways that I've seen people clean.
And there's bottles. A lot of people that get weirded out about like, well, what's going to happen to the bottle? As long as it's put in the dishwasher correctly, it's okay. They've
also left 2 pairs of Normatec boots. Wow.
I hope they left the unit too. That'd be nice.
Stim and ultrasound units. And those are just some examples. Everyone's favorite were the ice baths.
Of course.
Very nice, self-filling, self-regulated as far as temperature, which is, I've never even heard of that.
Wait, what?
Seriously.
That's pretty nice.
Well, summer 2020 was the first time that the pro team was at their new facility. The ice baths haven't been used since COVID started. When we tried to use them this year, it did not go well.
Uh-oh.
We were trying to fill them in September, and one tub couldn't control temperature or fill properly. The second tub had a leaky pipe. We think COVID was the ultimate reason because we just let it sit and not use it. We got them looked at. Turns out they need to be completely replaced.
Oh my goodness.
Upwards of $70,000.
Nope, those are out.
Yeah, right.
They're gone.
Right. Me and my other ATCs in that ATR are ready to demo them so we can get other more affordable ice tubs. This unit also takes up a lot of room for them not working. But mind you, the ice baths were put in 2002.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they $70,000. Yeah, they gotta go.
No, see, that's the thing. It's like, here, I'm gonna gift you this really nice thing, but if you need
the maintenance sucks.
Right. It's like they're nice while they lasted.
Oh, exactly.
Don't get used to it.
But along the lines of like whirlpools, like everyone thinks of the conventional whirlpool, we have an interesting story about a not so conventional whirlpool.
Not at all.
It is essentially and actually literally a bathtub in the middle of an athletic training room.
Yeah, so this one's from Rizzo. If you guys haven't heard it already, she was on our Working Internationally episode that we did a couple weeks ago. So make sure you check that out, but let's go ahead and listen to that.
So my athletic training room looks exactly like an athletic training room in the States. I've got STEM unit. I actually have a very large bathtub in my office. So when you talk about shipping things from the US to here, it's really expensive. So
Yeah.
a $3,000 whirlpool is going to end up being $5,000-$6,000 to ship
Oof.
out. And so
Ugh.
before I got here, this is a great story. Before I got here, the guy before me was like, I need a whirlpool. And so he took a picture and he said, this is what I want. And he came back, and in the middle, literally in the middle of the athletic training room, is a porcelain, like, standard bathtub that they tiled vertically to create height. And like,
show it to them. You can show it to them.
Okay.
I was gonna say you might have
So-
to take a picture of this so we can, if you're comfortable for it.
So
we
I'm
can post
actually
it.
Facebook
trying to
group,
clean
yeah.
my hydrock right now, but this is my bathtub.
Sasha's like, what the heck?
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my gosh.
literally in the middle. And so it's like the porcelain. And
Wow.
they just built up the tile all across the side of it.
What
So-
the heck?
Oh my gosh. I love
But
that.
like, it's an idea. Like, this is what my athletic training room looks like. Like, I'm standing at the door.
Yeah.
It's
That
a mess
literally-
right now because I'm getting ready for Christmas. But like, I have all the bells and whistles.
That literally is like in the middle of your room.
It really is.
It is. If I could get rid of one thing, I'd get rid of my bathtub.
So actually seeing a picture of it, it literally is in the middle of the room, essentially.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny where it's at. But she asked and she got it.
I think it is so innovative. It's hilarious.
They made it happen. That's all I gotta say. They made it happen. I'm just saying, like, they could have just said no, you're not getting
Right.
one, right? She
Right.
asked, and they, like, I would love to get the things I asked for, even if it's maybe not as what I pictured.
I think the greatest thing that has come out of COVID in terms of our ATR is the fact that we are currently not using our whirlpools.
Yes.
Because one, I really have never ever recommended a whirlpool to someone or an ice bath. Two, they're a pain to clean.
Yes.
Three, they're a pain to set up. Four, it's a big waste of water. I mean, you can
It
have
is.
your opinions of ice baths and stuff, but I am very glad that we are not using them currently. The only thing you know what they're really nice for, though?
What?
Cleaning the 10 gallons.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I put
They won't flood the room.
Right, exactly.
Well,
I put the 10 gallon on the seat and then I can wash it and I can, like, it's basically self-contained. It's like a huge sink.
but you know what? You have the option to use whirlpools if you wanted to. We literally cannot hook up a whirlpool that was bought before the current staff because we don't have any plumbing.
Yeah,
It-
yeah.
It still is on the pallet in its box.
Well, if they want to drive an hour from your work to get to my work, then they can use ours.
There we go. That will
As
make
long as you set them up.
that will make sure nobody actually needs the whirlpool. There you go.
So when we put up on our Instagram this week, we put a bunch of questions about, like, what would you change? What would you keep? This one, I asked, what would you change? And Scott said he needs more wall space. We almost
feel
have
that.
none, which is annoying for rehab. Things like wall sits, wall bridges, /plyo progressions, med ball tosses, etc. I wish we had more.
I feel that. And plus, you know, it is nice to have wall space because then you can hang the informational posters,
Mhm.
you know, all the anatomical posters. We have some at my work. I don't have a wall to put them on, though.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yep. We're doing great here.
I really, this one I didn't actually realize was so important until, like, my current ATR. We don't really have that much wall space either. So when I do things like lifting or what are these, like, called, wall walks?
Oh,
with
yeah,
your-
yeah, the wall walks.
like with your hand, like to get shoulder range of motion and stuff like that. That was the time that I mostly realized, or like when I'm using a double tennis ball
Yeah.
on your back, there's no wall space. So
Yeah.
we have to use the door, but it's like, I hope no one opens
Opens
the
the door and then all of a sudden, like, ah!
What's something you would change in your ATR?
I feel like this is a long list, but kind of along those same lines. Maybe some walls.
Okay, let me put let me put some perspective on Randy's ATR. So Randy works at a place that the
we don't have a campus necessarily. Like, we're in a business park.
So like all of the facilities, like the baseball field, the basketball field, like all those.
Any athletic facility is off campus.
Exactly.
So we're literally in a warehouse, which is nice for the space. We have a lot of space. It's very open. We can do a lot of things with that space.
But it's also a shared space.
It is definitely a shared space. The problem is we don't have any walls. So along the lines of not having walls, obviously people can see what treatments are being done, and like just random people can walk through the warehouse and like, you shouldn't be here. Also, I think what's really annoying is the fact that we don't have any office space. So like, I don't have a place to do my computer work or my paperwork. So that makes it very hard to get that stuff done. And even if like an athlete has something like personal we need to talk about or they want to open up about, I don't have anywhere to take them for them to feel comfortable enough. They basically are just talking about it in the warehouse.
So basically privacy, like an office.
That'd probably be the highest on my list.
Yeah.
Big time.
That's one thing. Like, we have a really nice desk space, like a shared desk space that I really like. But it is not private. Like, it's open to the ATR, which is a bummer.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like things like that, like if I need to have a conversation like that, like luckily we have, but there's been no one else in the ATR.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, that's something that's not really thought about by architects or like.
Exactly.
Especially when they don't have an AT in the know.
Yes, exactly.
All right, we got another one. This one's from Bryce A.
My ATR is very small, but I'm very proud of it and myself for being able to do what I have been doing. I have 2 tables with a modality cart between them and an ice machine. I can really only have 2 athletes in at a time, but there are some athletic periods where I handle 10 plus athletes at once on a rotation in and out. That literally is in and out, just boom, boom, boom.
Right.
I am my school's first full-time AT, so it's a challenge trying to change things. At the semester break, though, I had a meeting with my school board about the necessity of growth, and they have agreed and are going to allow me to change our unused weight room into an ATR.
That
sounds
exciting.
Awesome.
I know.
Bryce, I am jealous of you. That is awesome. Congrats.
See, it's the things like this, like the little wins. Well, I guess that's actually a really
That's a big win.
That's a big win. But I mean, like things like this where it's like you hear about other ATs who are like pushing for like, we need better facilities, and like,
yes.
It's not just for us. Like, it's literally where all the athletes go.
Absolutely.
It's like if you're gonna have good facilities for your sport teams, you might as well also have a good facility where your sport teams go to get healthy and stay healthy.
Also, for like the colleges out there, man, that could be a big recruiting tool. I mean, obviously, it's not the only thing athletes are thinking about, but like if they look at the space and it looks like trash, they're more than likely gonna be like, well, that's not very cool to be there, or maybe the school doesn't care as much. You know, it just puts a bad taste out there.
Exactly. One of the places that I work, I have a full-time job, and then I have like several part-times or like per diems, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
One of the places that I work is in entertainment, and we have several ATRs. They're pretty small. Like one of them has it literally has room for 1 treatment table.
That's tiny.
Yeah. It's got a treatment table. It's got a mirror, a desk that fits a laptop, and that's it.
At least you have a desk.
And a little spot that has like hang rehab stuff. So like the ankle weights and
like,
Pilates stuff. Yeah. And so we literally have like 2 people at a time. One person who signs up on a little, like, we have this board on the like on the door, and we have time slots that people can walk up that day and like sign up for a time slot. And if they sign up for a time slot, then that means that they get an appointment like with us, like one-on-one. Yeah. And if they don't sign up, they can still come in and do like heat, like whatever they need to do, or
less
like warm
hands-on.
Up. There's on the opposite side of the treatment table, there's a bike, and then there's a spot for a yoga mat. Okay. So, or they can just like do stuff on their own, like on the yoga mat, on the bike.
So small. is what you're saying.
Very small. And 2 athletic trainers work in there
No.
at once.
No way.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like that room's going to get cramped pretty quick.
Yeah, it does. And it's down under the stage because
Okay.
this is at a stage show. So it's down under the stage. So like people go past if they're trying to get from stage left to stage right.
Yeah. Man.
Or if they're changing because it's also right across from like the dressing rooms.
Man, so it's a busy area that it's in.
It is a busy area. That's one thing that I had to get used to. I think on one side of the wall it tells you which way is stage right and which way is stage left.
Oh, okay.
But when I've been called up to the stage before, like sometimes they'll call the office phone or they'll like call over like the little intercom thing.
Uh-huh.
They'll be like, "Oh, AT to stage right," and like when you're downstairs, you have no clue where you are.
Yeah.
And so like I've had to run up before and be like, "Am I on the right
I
side?"
hope I'm going the right way.
Yeah. Like totally disoriented because
Yeah.
you're in the basement.
As with most athletic training rooms.
Right. But I think just at that one area, it's really cool because like that facility is a lot different than like our other facility.
Yeah.
I mean, we have like 4 main facilities and they're all very different.
Interesting.
Like one
Okay.
is very Pilates heavy.
Yeah.
And so we have like reformers and we have Cadillacs and like Pilates chairs and like stuff like that. And then another one, we have more like TRX, typical rehab equipment. Like
Yeah.
free weights and ankle weights and foam rollers and stuff. And then, we have another one that's mostly like operations. So it's like smaller.
Yeah.
And then we have another one that is shared with the warm-up space. And so like there's a ton of space.
Yeah.
It's not all ours, but like it's a shared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's nice
so-
to have space just in general.
Yeah. But the little one's the only one that we really only did appointment based.
Okay. Which I could see why, you don't want like 15 people just rolling up.
Right.
Hey, I'm ready.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
You did appointment. Do you still do appointments?
Long answer, yes. But a lot of times, like, if it's right after practice, like, the team that's in season, I'll just let them come in.
So you do like both.
Yeah, so I'll give them a X amount of time. Like, hey, I can treat like all the kids like after practice they need something, but anyone who's out of season, I tell them you gotta schedule with me so I can make sure I can spend time. So it's like a hybrid.
We have. You want to read this one about appointments?
Yes, this one's by Morgan D. Morgan D says, I'm currently in PT school, but I did my undergraduate at a large D1 school and then worked 2 years at a small D3 school. I loved that the D1 school we had a set 1 to 2 hour treatment time before practice where everyone came in. Appointments could be scheduled for post-op or if someone had class, but it was so nice to have everything right then and there. It gave you time to, in general, prep for everyone, but also do notes and such after. Yes, that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas at the D3 school, that was not possible. In the model where it isn't possible to have one set treatment time, I really like to have set appointments. Our AT room was tiny with 4 ATs and 4 treatment tables, so space was hard to come by and walk-ins made things very hectic in there. I still reserved the hour 30-ish minutes before practice for walk-in, tape, /stretch, etc. But no true rehabs in that time. Since it was such a small school, I wouldn't be able to actually go to the field until after warm-ups and whatnot. So I always scheduled my post-ops for that time frame after pre-practice rush, the beginning of warm-ups. That way, they didn't take time away from during the day and other athletes who had to practice if possible. Yes, that is very true. When you have like an appointment base, people who just walk in then just like throw everything off.
I kind of do a hybrid.
Yes. But it makes it like, because like I'll have people and someone walks in, I'm like, oh, I feel bad because these people like scheduled time and like, I don't know. It makes it like, whoa, hold on.
You're also like going from D1 schools
Yes.
where you have one team and now you're working with a bunch of teams.
Yes.
Whereas I've really only ever worked with a bunch of teams.
Yes, very true.
I mean, at the high school, I had like 2 teams, but or like 2 main teams, but still.
Yeah.
I really like doing the like, oh, softball has this treatment slot.
Yes.
And baseball has this treatment spot, and swim has this treatment spot.
Yes, definitely.
And non-traditional sports have the rest of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's nice.
But also, too, I found like in the athletic setting, appointments can be hard to execute because everyone, like a lot of athletes, like are just so used to being able to walk in, or sometimes it's almost more convenient to just let them walk in and like then having the kids schedule. I don't know. That's what I've noticed.
We are trying to figure out appointments right now. And, the hardest thing for me is actually because our schedules change so often,
Yeah.
like me and my co-head, it's the last thing on my mind to change the appointments. Like, oh, you can't schedule during this time.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I'm coming in later tomorrow. Like, I don't know, that's the hardest for me to try to keep on top of.
Yeah.
And so my quote unquote appointments they used to be more structured, and now it's like, you know what? I'm just going to go, and you can text me and tell me when you're going to come in, or you can verbally tell me when you're going to come in, and I'm going to have that in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it kind of ends up going down for me as well. But also, we got to remember, like, these athletes can barely schedule their own doctor appointments. Like, it's almost easier that I scheduled the appointments than them, so I could see the struggle.
Well, I have had where appointments were working out pretty well.
That's good.
But I think it also depends on, like, the culture of where you're at.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, Alyson S said, I never worked somewhere until now that does appointments, but I like it. We have 15 to 30-minute slots, and it's super nice because there are 3 ATs sharing 1 ATR. Things get crowded
big
fast.
time.
And I like it because we can go back and look at our schedule to help with documentation. On the flip side, it's nice to see a schedule in the morning so I know who's coming and when, and if they don't show up, I can tell the coaches.
Yeah, that's true. That is
Yes,
nice.
yes.
It is nice to prepare. You get to prepare for things.
Yes. Also, 3 ATs sharing 1 ATR can get very crowded.
Oh, very. Because then they all got their sports that are coming in, and depending on how many, even if you have multiple tables, you're still only limited to how much you can get done with only 3 clinicians.
Mm-hmm.
So this last one's by Nate E. I do appointments so my patients can get one-on-one service. It's a disservice to our patients if we're dividing our attention among multiple patients. I set my appointments for 15 minutes, but if I know a patient needs a bit longer, then I can adjust as needed. It's also nice because I use Setmore, an online scheduler, which has an app for me. The students are able to see when I have available appointments and/or if I'm available. I update it on Thursday or Friday, and I do a week at a time because my availability changes each day because of meetings, practice times, game and travel, etc. Hey, we use Setmore as well.
Yeah, so I used to use Setmore. I don't anymore.
It's pretty convenient. I've liked it. And it sends reminders.
Oh, that on the free one?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I get a reminder, and I'm pretty sure like the patient will get a reminder as well. And it's I don't know if you can adjust it, but usually it's about 15 minutes before the appointment.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
We used to use Setmore. Now we use Microsoft Bookings.
Ooh,
and
okay.
I say now we use that as if I've ever used it, but
yeah.
I've never sent out the link.
But it's there.
It's
there
ready.
and ready.
It's ready. Nate, I commend you for actually updating your availability. That's
hard to do too.
I know I've had athletes tell me that they've done appointments before where they've just like signed up for an appointment and then they've gone and no one's been there.
Oh, that's a bummer.
People don't adjust their availability.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. That's what I fear would happen with me.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
But if you can use them to work, like 15-minute appointments, that's awesome. Like to get one-on-one time with your athletic trainer for that long.
That's pretty cool. Like the one-on-one service, I think is really cool. And it's really appealing about the appointment based. I feel like, man, sometimes like I want to do so much, it ends up taking longer. And I'm like, I need to be faster.
I think most of what my one-on-one time is actually teaching.
Yeah.
Like how to do this yourself.
Yeah.
And then when I get like a ton of people, like, okay, you start this, and then when I have a moment to have one-on-one time, that's when you do the stuff that you can't do with other people or like by yourself, like manual therapy.
No, definitely.
You're not going to do that on yourself for the most part.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add to our ATR stories?
No, I each athletic trainer room is so unique. So it's really cool to see like what other people go through, what they like, what they don't like. It's really cool to hear these stories.
You know what I was super bummed about? We didn't get a single haunted ATR story. But I know they're out there. I've heard them before.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Hey, maybe that could be a Halloween one.
Well, I was kind of putting out feelers, like, are we going to get a bunch? But we didn't get a single haunted ATR story.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure you're happy about that.
Yes, I would not be down for that. I would leave that athletic training room.
I wouldn't either, but I still want to hear about it.
I would not. I couldn't work at that place. I'd be like, I'm out.
Oh, you'd be out so quick.
Oh, real quick.
I think that's one thing too. Like when you're taking a job, the ATR is kind of a make or break.
It can be for sure.
Because that's where you're going to be at least 40 hours in your entire week.
We definitely say at least 40 hours because there's times you might be there even more.
Right. I mean, there are times that you could be there less.
That's true. That is true. It's a balance.
Balance. As we're finishing up, I want to give a big thank you to all of those who have left us reviews in 2021 and back in 2020. 2022, I hope we get some more.
Yes, please.
And speaking of reviews, reviews are done on Apple Podcasts. Those are the ones that actually like you can write what you like or dislike about our podcast. But ratings, so the number of stars, you can actually now do on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So all of you Spotify listeners, which I know you're out there.
We do have some.
You can actually go into our main page, or actually, I don't know if you can do it from like an episode, but you can click on how many stars and it will put up our rating. And people have already started rating us on Spotify.
Nice.
Which is really, really cool. So if you guys haven't done that yet, please head over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and give us a rating or a review, or both. That'd be great.
We do like reading the reviews. Those are fun.
They're super, super fun. Also, don't forget to share this with a friend. We've already doubled our listeners since last year, and we'd love to keep growing. And the more we grow, the more stories we get.
Yes.
Which is really exciting.
Yes, absolutely.
And then lastly, every other episode, if you guys are new, is education or stories.
And we are very excited for the next education episode.
If you want some motivation for the next year, we are having Mike Stella on.
Yes, I'm really excited to hear this one.
Super, super excited. He's going to talk about entrepreneurship. And luckily, I don't have to say that word too many times. Yeah, so look forward to that. That will be out next week. And Randy?
Thank you for helping us showcase athletic training behind the tape. Bye.